Connecting sleep to sports isn't easy, but here goes. Mattress Firm is America's neighborhood mattress store, and it should be your goal to check out the deals that they have going on every day. Their mattresses are softer than your rival's team defense. They get a 10 out of tennis. You'll love your new bed. Okay, all terrible dad jokes aside, head to mattressfirm.com/podcast and stretch your budget further than a gymnast before a floor routine. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network. Here we are. It's another Believe You Me. I'm back in New York. Mike's out in Cali at home. How are you, my friend?
I am very good, Lewis. Very good. Thank you very much. Slight echo. There we go. I think it's disappeared now. Lots of things to talk about, Lewis. I know last week we were saying no MMA news, which there wasn't, which is weird because I think we've had a few weeks of no UFC events. And then obviously this weekend we've got UFC 223. But yeah, lots of things happening. Of course, this weekend we're supposed to have the longer-awaited Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, which has been booked. This is the fourth time that fight has been booked, and I'm sure everybody, unless you live under a rock, if you follow MMA, you know that Tony Ferguson got injured. We'll talk about that later. And then also Carlos Condit got injured. Lots of other things going on as well. Anthony Joshua fought at the weekend for the boxing fans out there. Anthony Joshua, massive boxing star, took on... Who did he take on? My mind's gone blank. Who did he fight, Lewis?
I don't know. I don't watch boxing.
I watched the fight. Oh, sorry. Joshua Parker, pardon me. Joshua Parker from New Zealand. I went down to a bar at the weekend, watched that with my dad and Audie Attar, my manager. Also Tony Ferguson's manager. He'll be calling in about, I said 10:15, but we actually started late. So about 20 minutes. I better text him, actually. Yeah, he's going to call in. Anthony Joshua, did you watch that fight, Lewis?
Yeah, no, dude, I don't watch boxing at all, but I heard from via the MMA Twitter sphere that it was not too exciting, which when a boxing match is not super exciting, MMA fans love to point it out.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll say this. For me, the best part of the fight, unfortunately, and this sounds like I'm anti-boxing or anti-Anthony Joshua, which I'm not. I love Anthony Joshua. I'm a big fan. I love watching him fight. Of course, he's flying the flag for the UK, so I'm a big fan. Probably the best part of that fight was the walkouts. The walkouts were pretty awesome. It was at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, and there was about 80,000 people in attendance in this huge stadium. I mean, that alone itself was very cool. But when he walked out, they had quite a show. It was almost like a WWE performance.
Really?
You know, they had flames and lasers and all this shit, and on the way to the ring, he stopped on a stage of big massive jets and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was cool. And then to see 80,000 people at dark, and then all the at night, pardon me, all the the flashes from the cameras and stuff all going off, it looked amazing. I fought in some big arenas all over the world, but 80,000 people is pretty insane. The fight itself, yeah, it wasn't the best fight.
Oh my God, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm watching the walkout now, and
it's insane.
That's banana. It literally looks like almost like a monster truck show. There's like flames and fires going off like everywhere. I will give the UFC credit for making boxing up their game when it comes to the showmanship, because I feel like for a little while there wasn't really happening with anything with the walkouts of boxing. It was a rapper would come down with a fighter, and like they'd come down to a rap song and they dance around. But this is fucking bigger than I've ever seen anything before in boxing.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely crazy. It was. That's what I say. I mean, probably the best part about it. I mean, just the sheer spectacle, seeing that many people, and the production level was fantastic. I think Eddie Hearn promoted that one, who is the son of the boxing promoter Eddie Hearn in the UK, and he seems to have added some new blood, some new life, should I say, to the boxing world. And of course, that walkout, that was unbelievable. Turning to the fight, listen, I'm not trying to knock Anthony Joshua. He's an amazing champion. But it was a very defensive fight. It was. That was his sixth, I believe. Sixth. I'm just trying to share me up. There we go. Shannon, number shared. There you go. Sixth world title fight. He's defended 5 times. And it almost looked like he was trying to fight not to lose. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people talk about in boxing. And I guess it is hard when you've been a champion that long and you're earning the kind of money Anthony Joshua is. I guess it would develop that style. You know, you're not exactly a young, hungry kid. I mean, he is young. I think he's in his mid to late 20s. Earning 20, 30 million per fight. And of course, we talked about it last week. Dana White potentially, you know, wants to make this $500 million offer and all this. Let's just say he's not going to go hungry anytime soon. So there's a lot of pressure on that young man. So it was kind of a defensive fight. It wasn't the most exciting thing ever. The only time he really fought was when Parker, got inside and actually hit him. Then we actually saw Anthony Joshua fight as opposed to just pumping the jab and doing the bare minimum. Now, it was a clear victory for Anthony Joshua. He can't take that away. And his opponent, Parker, was undefeated. He'd never hit the canvas. So he was a very, very tough opponent. And as I say, it was definitely a convincing, solid win. I think it's fair to say it wasn't the most exciting fight ever.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm knocking anybody by saying that. That's just the truth. But there you go. That is my breakdown of the Anthony Joshua versus Parker fight. Boom, there you go. You're welcome.
Anthony Joshua earned 13 million euro.
13 million euros.
So what is Cameron can look that up, the conversion of 13 million euro. I don't understand the motivation. I think right now if somebody paid me $1 million, I would disappear for a year and a half. I would pay my rent for a year and a half. I would just go and I would sleep. I'm so overworked and so tired. I couldn't imagine the motivation to make this much money and to still say, I'm going to go train that hard. I'm going to keep on pushing, keep on putting myself in danger. Dude, it's such a crazy thing for a fighter to find that motivation when you start making that type of money.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But you got to think of it. He's not looking at it. Of course, a boxer looks at it from the monetary aspect. Okay, that's why they do it. That's why they get into boxing. But they also get into it, or fighting, or MMA, whatever it is, because they love the sport. And if they truly love the sport, yes, they have the money, they have the financial security, they can put that aside. Now, I think he wants to be known as the best boxer of all time. I think that's what's driving him. Certainly, it's not paying the bills. Certainly, it's not setting himself up for life after boxing. You just said plenty of money there. Although, we have seen it time and time again, boxers make a ton of money and then they blow it. I don't know how they do it. I mean, Floyd Mayweather reportedly had to take that fight against Conor McGregor because he had a tax bill to pay, because his lifestyle was so lavish that he had to keep earning that amount of money. I remember a friend of mine used to manage Riddick Bowe back in the day, the heavyweight boxer, and he earned, I don't know what his earnings were. Maybe Harrington can Google that, but Riddick Bowe earned a lot of money in his day. Of course, Evander Holyfield, there's another guy, built the biggest house in Atlanta, something like 39 bedrooms or something. And, of course, Evander Holyfield had untold riches, and he lost it all.
Mike Tyson
I was just saying. Go on.
Mike Tyson's probably the most famous out of everybody, who went from being worth, like, I don't know, it was like a crazy amount, like $300 million, to being completely bankrupt. And, you know, he had, like, pet lions and shit.
Which is cool. I would have a pet lion if I could, or a pet tiger.
What would be
a tiger?
If you, let's say you earned...
Well, listen, Riddick Bowe apparently went into a Rolls-Royce dealership, bought a brand new Rolls Royce, which is like, you know, close to $500,000, but bought it in blue. And then the day after thought, I should have got it in black. Rather than taking it back and switching it, or, you know, getting a bit of money knocked off, he just bought another one, you know, brand new. Say, oh, yeah, no, I want the black, actually. You know, so, not the smartest move I've ever heard of.
What would
your
be,
question?
if you, all right, let's say your final payday, craziness, you know, $25 million payday. What would be the obnoxious thing that you would buy? You'd have to buy one obnoxious dickhead thing. You already own a Maserati, so.
Yeah, but that's not an obnoxious dickhead thing. If you're going to own a fine Italian car, Lewis, a Maserati is kind of understated.
Right.
And also because I can't afford a Lamborghini. You know, if I could get a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, I would. In fact, I could go buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari right now. Cash, motherfucker. But
do it.
I'm still here talking to you like one of the people.
As you're drinking your My Protein shake, who doesn't pay us to be on this show?
My Protein is delicious, nutritious, and fantastic. And yes, go to myprotein.com and check out their vast range of online supplements.
That'll be $1,200, My Protein.
No. I don't know what I'd buy. I don't know. What would you buy is a better question. I'm sure you have some comedic answer for everybody.
No, not comedic answer. Just probably a collection of black dildos. Huge. Probably 1,000 of them.
To laugh.
You know what's a really funny thing you can do, though? If you go to somebody's house and they have Alexa, you can literally just say, hey, Alexa, how much is a black dildo? And Alexa will be like, a black dildo, this black dildo is $90. And then you can be like, Alexa, send me 12 of them. And then if they don't have a passcode, set, they will just, you can literally order black dildos to anybody's household that has an Alexa skill. So
I got the Google Home recently. I got it for my birthday. Did we talk about this?
yeah, you did talk about it a little. It's okay though. It's relevant.
Yeah. No, I got the Google Home. I don't think you can order quite as easily. Of course, that's why Amazon have Alexa. I'm sure that's why they do that. Yeah. Funnily enough, I haven't tried to order black dildos on my Google Home, but I will try. I will try and see what turns up. All right. So you buy black dildos. That was the Anthony Joshua fight.
Yeah.
The big news that I'm sure everybody's waiting for us to talk about is, as I said, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. This is the fourth time that this fight has happened. Well, sorry, pardon me, been scheduled, and the fourth time that this fight has fallen through, which is unbelievable. I know a lot of people were looking forward to this fight. I truly was. He was at the Fox Studios on, I think it was last Friday, doing the rounds like you have to do. You're obligated to do certain media. Why has that just got so bright? I don't know. You're obligated to do media leading up to the fight. Part of that was going to the Fox Studios. And apparently walking out, he turned, tripped over a wire, boom, blew his knee out. I actually went to the fight with the Anthony Joshua fight with Audie, that's Tony Ferguson's manager, at the weekend. And when we got in the car, he said, listen, off the record news, he said, it looks like that fight might not be happening because his knee's kind of blown out. We're waiting to hear from the doctors. And then, here we are. He is...
it's not even in training, which is the most bizarre. If you believe in some sort of higher spirit or deity... You know, this is the time where you go, okay, God does not want this fight to happen. It wasn't in training. It wasn't some crazy shit. He fucking tripped over a wire. That's bananas.
Yeah, but it happens. I mean, that is life. Weird shit does happen. It doesn't necessarily have to be inside an octagon or punching somebody in the face. I think back in 2006, I was training with Kenny Florian. I was getting ready for the Ultimate Fighter final. I was in Las Vegas, and Kenny Florian told me a story. The fight before that, I think he was supposed to fight Alex Karalexis. I'm not sure. Anyway, he was packing to leave his house to fly to the hotel in Las Vegas to fight, and he was packing his bag. He had his suitcase open, and he was leant over, and he grabbed something and just threw it to the side, and his back popped.
Wow.
It was weird, and he had to pull out of the fight. So it's not unheard of. I mean, we're human beings. Not that we're fragile, but things do go weird and randomly wrong like that. So it's such a shame. I can only imagine, though, the frustration on Dana White and the people at the UFC. Oh. Four fucking times they've tried to make this fight. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised people don't get injured so much more in training. I think about this. I remember I've only really pulled my back one time in the gym. And I was doing deadlifts, and I was lifting too much weight. I don't have great form. I'm not an athlete at all, so I'm always like, you really got to pay attention to your form. If you're not an athlete, and you have natural instincts because you're a fucking professional athlete, but I'm just a fat fuck. So I just stopped paying attention for a minute. I was looking in the mirror the wrong way, and I was doing a deadlift, and I just pinched my back, and it was excruciating pain, and I was like off my feet for a couple days, out of the gym for like 3 weeks. And then you see guys like doing jujitsu, and they're rolling and twisting each other's bodies into different positions. And it's very surprising to me that you don't see people get injured almost every time they do it.
Let me ask you this. When you're lifting weights, are you trying to lift as much weight as possible and being one of those macho assholes? Or are you saying, okay, I want to get the full range of motion. I want to have good form. So therefore, I'm not going to try and lift a lot. I'm going to lift a weight that is comfortable for me.
Little column A, little column B. So
yeah, see, this is the thing. See, I go lift weights with Callum and my son, and of course, he's young. He's only 16. So I think all men, when they go to the gym, they want to lift as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Cal, I said, don't do that, son. Just lift a nice, comfortable weight. You want the full range of motion. You don't want to have a jerky motion. You don't want to injure yourself. The less weight, believe it or not, is better. Of course, as if you're training for something specific, you want to push it and you want to lift more, but a nice steady motion. Okay, sometimes you've got to be explosive as well. Depends what you're looking for. But a nice steady motion, lower weight, Lewis, you will not injure yourself.
Yeah. Well, no, typically I don't go too heavy, and I'm not one of these big meatheads. I'm actually pretty knowledgeable in the actual gym. I used to be very fat. I used to be over 300 pounds. So to lose over 100 pounds and to get in, pretty decent shape. I've had abs before, Michael Bisping. Maybe you don't fucking
That's
know.
Incredible.
You've never seen
Well, number one, I don't think you've ever mentioned it, that you've lost a ton of weight and you're on a real ass diet and this is what you like to do. You've never mentioned that. And secondly, I don't see any abs on you right now.
Oh, they're in there somewhere. I'm just at the end of the winter. Every time winter comes, dude, I put on a good 20, 30 pounds easy, just eating terrible. But I'm coming back. Don't you worry. By June, I'm going to be having those fucking selfies in the gym. Woo.
Oh, well,
you don't even
get some
know
of this stuff, Lewis. Get yourself some My Protein.
Fuck me.
Help you out.
Shannon, edit it out.
This is what I have for breakfast every day, though. No, it truly is. I have a shake. No, but listen to me.
I have a shake in the morning, a shake for lunch.
No, listen, I do though. I have water with 2 scoops of protein. I have a big spoon of peanut butter. I have a big handful of kale and spinach. Throw that in there. They have a scoop of multigreens. I have half a banana and a handful of frozen mixed berries. Now I blend that up. Boom. There you go. There's my breakfast nearly every single day. Unless we go out for breakfast and I want some eggs or something like that. Or maybe some days you just want to cook breakfast anyway. But generally, that's my breakfast most days.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to remember whose joke it is, but they talk about Rocky. Oh, I think it's Gary Goldman. It's a great joke about how Rocky's like drinking 6 eggs. And he's like, it just doesn't work today. You're like, I mean, Jesus Christ, Rock. You ever heard of salmonella poisoning?
I'm assuming you get that from raw eggs.
Yeah.
I guess you have to be there, Lewis. I guess it was funnier at the time on stage.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I guess it's all in the delivery. I would say give up your day job, but then you wouldn't have a job. So, don't give up the day job.
All right, let's get back to Mattress Firm real quick. Let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? Everyone knows how important stretching is before an event, and so does Mattress Firm. Except it's your dollar. Your budget stretches further when you're shopping at America's neighborhood mattress store. It's a true home run, and you'll have a ball.
They are the head coaches when it comes to mattress expertise, but know this, they're more than just mattress experts. They have a game plan that helps you transform your mattress into a bed. From adjustable bases and sheets to headboards and bedroom decor. They have you literally and figuratively covered up like your favorite cornerback. So go to mattressfirm.com/podcast to see what deals are happening as I read this sentence to you. They even offer you a 120-night sleep trial to ensure perfection and a 120-night low price guarantee, so you know you paid the perfect price.
Talk about a 1-2 punch, a knockout, if you will. Score big with the perfect bed. Head to mattressfirm.com/podcast to get the play-by-play on how you can monumentally improve your sleep today, tonight, and tomorrow. All right, let's get back into it.
Anyway, we were talking about Tony Ferguson. So, listen, it sucks for Tony Ferguson. I think he tore. Has he torn his LCL? He's blown his knee out. Maybe he has to have surgery. Maybe he doesn't. Hopefully he doesn't, because that means he'll be out for a while. But
it says, hold on. It says that he will require surgery, whereas most LCL tears do not require surgery. He tore his LCL directly off the bone.
Oh man, I mean, I don't know much about it, but when you say you tore it off the bone, that sounds bad. I mean, I didn't even know it was on the bone. Did you know it was on the bone?
I don't know shit about this. I'm just reading shit. Right, tell me, I don't know what's the difference between ACL.
And I went, ooh. So I didn't even know it was on the bone, but it just sounds bad.
What's the difference between ACL and LCL? Because I don't even know. You hear about an ACL tear all the time. This is literally the first time I'm even hearing the word LCL.
You got the ACL, which is the anterior cruciate ligament. You have the PCL, which is the posterior cruciate ligament. I tore my PCL 6 days out from when I fought in the Ultimate Fighter final. Still gives me bother to this day. I never had it operated on. Yeah, I didn't know you had an LCL as well. The lateral, what is it?
I don't know.
Crucial ligament? Yeah, lateral. If it's LCL, lateral cruciate ligament. Anyway, whatever. It's lateral, it's crucial, and it's a ligament. Sounds like you need it. Tear it off the bone.
No, the lateral collateral. It rhymes.
It's a crucial ligament.
No, it's not crucial. It's the lateral collateral ligament.
Oh, even worse. It's collateral damage.
DJ Mikey B in the house. Lateral collateral.
Lateral Collateral. Wow. There you go. There's the name of this week's podcast.
You know.
Lateral Collateral.
You already know. Everyone in the room wrote it down.
Anyway, so listen, here's the thing. Poor guy, Tony Ferguson. I think it's well known. I think generally most people are looking at $500,000 plus pay-per-view because he was the interim title champ. You know, this was a big fight. Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, hype beyond galore. Everybody wanted to see this fight, plus Jan Jacek versus Rose in the co-main. So I feel like this would do a lot of pay-per-views at the weekend. I don't know how many,
Definitely.
but, you know, this is potentially a big payday for Tony Ferguson, by far biggest payday of his career so far. And then the poor guy has to pull out a week later. Not only do you have to pull out and deal with all that type of stuff, now he's got Khabib talking shit about him, because remember, Tony talked a lot of shit when Khabib pulled out because he couldn't make weight. Remember?
Yeah.
It was about a year ago or something. So now he's got to deal with that. Of course, he's not going to get paid. And now Dana White said to Brett Okamoto yesterday from ESPN, it looks like Tony Ferguson has been stripped of the interim lightweight title. So, and I guess in some ways, I'm not saying I defend what they're saying, but they can't have three champs, because Tony versus Max, and we'll get into Max Holloway in a second. Sorry, Khabib versus Max, that's going to be for the undisputed belt of the weekend. Then they got Conor McGregor, who's still the champ at lightweight.
Well, I think this means he's officially being stripped.
Who's the interim lightweight champion. So you can't have three belt holders.
Have they officially stripped Conor yet? Or that's not official, but I think my understanding is this weekend, the winner of this fight becomes the undisputed champion, meaning that they are stripping Tony of the interim title and they are stripping Conor of his regular title. It would seem that they're doing that. I think it's a little weird. It's kind of crazy. I understand why you have to do it, but, you know, not everything necessarily needs to be from a marketing perspective. I think you're fucking Khabib by not giving him the opportunity to fight for that title, but I can't justify this being a title fight. It's not the interim champion. It's not the champion. We're just making it the title fight for the sake of doing it.
Do you know what? I never even looked at it like that, but you're absolutely right, because Khabib has no claim to the belt other than being a top contender and being 25-0 and an awesome fighter, and I'm a big fan, and a very he's a captivating personality. Khabib, even though English isn't his first language, when he talks, he's very captivating. You want to hear what he's got to say. Normally, it's pretty funny. But you're right. All that aside, he's not a belt holder. He's not an interim belt holder. So I don't know why him versus Max is for the undisputed belt. Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Wow. Okay, so apparently Conor is officially stripped as soon as the fight starts.
No. He's stripped as soon as the
fight
punch
starts.
is thrown. Now, the reason I'm assuming, I don't know this factually, but I'm assuming, and you know, I'm no rocket scientist, this is pretty obvious. If they'd have stripped Conor a while ago, well, hold on, let me back up. They're saying as soon as one punch is thrown in this fight, then Conor's automatically stripped. Now, the reason they did that is because in the past, Tony and Khabib have both pulled out of this fight. If they'd have stripped him months ago, then they would have had no lightweight champion. You know what I'm saying? So they were waiting for the fight to start. So once that fight starts, then Conor's gone. He's out of the equation.
But is that,
which I kind of get that. What?
That terminology, the first punch is thrown, is that what something that Dana White said? But is that hyperbolic? What happens if?
That was just using that as a figure of expression.
If Max throws a head kick.
As soon as one punch is thrown, he's stripped.
Yeah.
Okay, because my dad was like, "Well, how are they going to strip him?" I'm like, "Dad, they're not going to have a fucking official ceremony of the debelting." Do you know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's gone. You know, it's as soon as a punch is thrown, that's it. It's done. It's done. It's gone. You know.
Which, look, I get it. It's just a little bit bizarre, and you know, I don't really understand why they would do that. You know, Tony is the interim champion. It's kind of weird, dude. Literally, he didn't get injured even in training. Just he trips over a wire, and in 1 second he loses probably, you know, the most money he's ever had a chance to make in his life, and his title. That he literally
not just that. His next fight, now he'll be back down to whatever he was earning before with no pay-per-view points. It has a knock-on effect.
Wow, it's fucking, it's bananas,
saying?
Dude. He loses it all. For tripping over a wire, how much do you think he's beating himself? You know him, dude. Is he like fucking killing himself?
I don't know about that. I want to know how much is the guy, that poor kid at Fox that left the cable there. You know what I mean? How much shit did he get? You know what I mean? Shall we give Audie Attar, Paradigm Sports Management and manager of said Tony Ferguson, a call and see what he has to say on this whole entire matter?
100%. Let's get Audie on the line. I'll take the moment while you're calling Audie to say, hey, look, if you guys are a fan of the show, you're listening to it on iTunes, you should know that we do the show, the video version, live, usually on Mondays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Today we're doing it on a Tuesday, but usually on Mondays, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the live stream every single week, and the latest 10 episodes are on iTunes. But if you guys want to get every show we've ever done, the entire on-demand library is available at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use the promo code BYM. You get all the episodes we've done. Got it. All right, he's getting on the line right now. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Audie.
Hey.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing well, Mikey. How are you?
I'm good. It sounds like you haven't had your morning coffee, Audie.
I've had about 4 by now.
Me and you both. I think I'm on my 3rd.
Yeah.
Of course, you're on the Believe You Me podcast with myself and Louis J. Gomez and everyone else in studio. We were just talking about
what's going on, Audie?
Tony Ferguson hurting his leg at the weekend, being out of the fight, all that type of stuff. Lewis, that's his name. Lewis was just asking me, how's Tony doing? How's he feeling? And I said, well, let's call Audie because Audie can answer that question better than me. How is Tony, Audie?
I mean, Mike, as you probably could imagine, he's distraught. This has all happened so fast. I mean, I know he tried to push through. I didn't even find out till this Saturday, and you saw how fast that stuff went as you and I were together in the afternoon, early evening. So it kind of went up until the wee hours of the night, and kind of the final decision was made Sunday morning. But he's distraught. You know, obviously, first and foremost, just because what he was working towards, had a great camp, and was excited to go kind of put an end to the debate between him and Khabib, and then also, make the most money he ever would have made in his entire career. Probably make as much as he made his entire career and then some in one fight. And so, he's just completely distraught. Just, feels like he has the worst luck right now.
Well, let me ask you, Audie, and this, I guess I want your opinion on this, and maybe you can shed the light on how Tony feels about it as well. We were just kind of talking about how it sort of is unfair that they're even making this for a title. Conor was the champ. Tony's the interim champion. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like they're sort of screwing him?
Well, look, I felt that stripping Conor was short-sighted. Because he people say, well, he hasn't fought so long, but really he had fought Floyd, and people forget that, and that's still a company fight, even though it was a different sport. So he definitely contributed to the health of the sport, the health of the UFC, the promotion. So that was the first step, and then obviously Tony was the interim title holder at that point in time. So even if you made that move now, it's like, okay, you still have an interim title holder, and it hasn't been officially put in play, but they're calling this fight for the undisputed, which kind of doesn't make sense. Khabib never fought Conor, and then obviously he never fought Tony, so it's just a little confusing. But that's the thing about the system; they have a right to do what they want. Ultimately, you hope that it's the right thing, not only for the sport and the promotion, but also for the fighters. In this case, we're hearing rumors, but Tony has not been stripped, has not been mentioned to us. They haven't given us notice, so I hope it's just all media clatter, and understand that Dana may has hinted at something, but ultimately I think I hope that they make the right decision, because it's not just about a belt, a paper belt. It wasn't. None of the fighters asked to fight for an interim title. That's just the way the system has evolved, and there's reasons for that. And some of those reasons obviously make sense, just to keep things moving along in the sport. But for him to lose that, it's not just from a reputation standpoint. It's economically what it will do to Tony. The loss that this injury that he sustained, during obligated media that he had to do for the fight, it's catastrophic for him and his family. So and Mike, you understand the business, so you understand how that can feel for a fighter to work all these years. And look, Tony's no slouch. Look who he's beaten. Look at his record. Look, from Ultimate Fighter on to today. I mean, he's worked his way to this point. He's a blue collar guy. It's not like he's gotten it any other way, right? So
no.
Is obviously catastrophic.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Tony's resume speaks for himself. I mean, I don't know how many Fight of the Night bonuses it is that he's won, but you know, he is a regular recipient of those things, worked his way up, and you know, he was a rightful interim champion with Conor, you know, doing whatever he's doing. What is the update on Tony? Does he need to have surgery?
See, that's still up in the air. He's going to see a specialist because, you know, his orthopedic feels that because it's off the bone, it does. And then, you know, I believe Dr. Davidson feels that it doesn't. So they're both suggesting he goes to a specialist that really kind of tells him what's needed. You know, the hope is he doesn't. The hope is, you know, he can either get some other non-invasive treatments and then rehab and rest and it heals. Normal LCL strains, you know, that's what it is, and a lot of guys get that. And it usually could just be left alone if you stay off it, make sure you're careful, and it scars up and heals itself. But you know, so when you have two doctors telling you two different things, you got to get a third opinion, you know, and figure out what the best solution is. I mean, the hope is, you know, worst case is if you just have surgery, you're looking at a, you know, 8 to 10 month recovery time from when he gets surgery to when he can fight.
Jeez.
But if it's not surgery, that's even better because it could be where the timeline is much shorter and he can get back in there. And the hope is he remains interim champion and he's able to then, you know, compete and attempt to unify with whoever holds the belt at that point in time, right? So.
Has there ever been any sort of precedent set where, like, you know, there was a fighter that was doing some sort of media obligations, they get injured doing something, and the UFC has said, hey, you know what, this is kind of crazy, let's help out here? Or is this sort of the first time this thing has come up?
Well, no, well, it's I'm sure there's been things where it's done on you know, kind of pre-fight obligations, whether it's training, whether it's media, but you know, I'd say the closest precedent everybody started talking about it. So it is Robert Whitaker, because Mike, when you held the belt, he was named interim champion, and then you know, he got injured, and from the point he was injured to, I believe, before GSP was stripped, it was still more time than it is today from when Tony earned his interim title. So I think the difference was that once they stripped GSP, it made Robert the title official undisputed title holder, so to speak.
Right.
But nonetheless, they were going to let Robert heal and then fight. And if he's scheduled to fight in June against Rockhold, presumably that's the day he would have fought the winner of you versus GSP.
Yeah.
So it would be around the same time that would be fair to let Tony heal and then come back and fight against whoever holds the title at that point in time. So that's the precedent.
Sure.
But you know, again, it hasn't always been consistent. But you know, again, we hope that they do the right thing, because right now we haven't heard anything from them. There's no forewarning that that said, hey, you can't fight, and also you're being stripped, because that's just a slap in the face.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, Audie. I can only imagine, A, how disappointed he is because of not fighting and getting that payday, and then B, to be stripped as well. I mean, that really is rubbing salt in the wounds. I don't know if that is happening. As you said, you haven't heard anything official. I guess the whole situation is just a mess, right? And I guess the UFC, playing devil's advocate, they're trying to rally around and try and make the most out of a bad situation. Knowing Tony, as I do...
They're in a very tough spot, and that's why I hope that, you know, once the dust settles, they really evaluate it and make the right decision, because it's not easy for them as well to go through as many cancellations at the 11th hour with all the money that's been spent. It's a difficult thing, and then to find a replacement and work through that on Easter weekend, it's not easy. You know, a lot of stuff that happens in this business, including from both sides, our side and their side, and people don't see. It's the countless hours and effort that's put into this type of stuff.
So let me ask you, this was something that was sort of floated a couple weeks ago, and it was just like, no, there's no way that this fight would get canceled for a fourth time. But Conor said he'd be ready if there was an injury or would be willing to step in. Was that ever even sort of looked at?
Yeah, I think Dana mentioned that he didn't want to rush Conor. I mean, it's funny that I watched some other social media banter. Again, not my style, but for some reason, Ali Abdelaziz always thinks he's a promoter and tries to go too aggressive at everybody. And he's a really nice guy when I meet him in person, so I don't understand.
Audie, say how you really feel. Come on. No bullshit on here. Say how you really feel.
Listen. It's not my style. Like, you know me, I'll call a spade when I see something and I talk directly. But to go and start that much shit talking when a guy is hurt, I mean, let the fighters do that, and maybe it's between them, not us, right? At the end of the day, and so at the end of the day, when it happened, though, I know Conor. Listen, Conor wanted to fight Khabib, so if they wanted to make it happen, they could have pushed Khabib off that card. But at the end of the day, I think UFC was trying to save their card. So that's always been their style, right? Is in boxing could be just pushed back or what have you. And the main event is basically scrapped. But in the UFC's model, and they built something special. They're pioneers, so they're going to run their business the way they want. I mean, Canelo GGG is canceled. There's no opponent for GGG to step in and take Canelo's spot. Well, from what we're hearing, right? The rumors, right?
Well, yeah. From the rumors, I mean, it's gonna be cancelled because of the what was it? Clenbuterol, the tainted meat. Yeah, right. That's bullshit.
Unless somehow he miraculously wins some appeal, right?
Yeah.
But like, if that happens, then that fight's gonna get moved. There's no replacement that promotion will try to look for. Whereas the UFC, it's its own system, it's its own rankings, its own champions. It has a model where, look, a lot of Khabib fans bought tickets and are traveling, and so they were going to keep Khabib on that card. And if they found a suitable replacement, then they're going to do that. I mean, if they had no options, I could see them moving there. But I think that that's kind of the way they run their business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess they've always done that in the past. They always bring in a replacement. They don't necessarily have to make that for a title fight. I mean, because as you say, Khabib isn't a champion and never has been yet. Just going back to Tony. Tony, I know I'm a big fan of Tony. He's a great guy. Kind of a unique individual. Where is he right now on a level of 1 to 10 from turning into an absolute fucking psychopath? Because this has got to be one of the most stressful situations in his professional career. I mean, to have to pull out and then to hear that he's possibly being stripped and to see a fight going ahead at the weekend that's going to be for the undisputed belt when he's the interim title holder. I mean, how pissed off is he right now?
He's gutted more than anything. I mean, he's very pissed, but I mean, he's also hurt, and then again, you hear you hear all this other stuff, and it's like, what, really? And then his mind just wanders, like, what the fuck? Yeah. And at the end of the day, how am I being blamed for this? This is not my fault, and how do I get protected? And how do I protect my family? So that's what's going through his mind, and so as you can imagine, I mean, it's one of those things where he's in, like he's protecting he wants to protect his family. How do you do that? You get in that type of mode, and it's like. It's fear, it's hurt, it's anger, it's frustration, it's trying to make sense of it all, and it's also being, ultra, mindful of trying to protect your family,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like the worst case is he lost millions for this fight. If in fact that they go forward and strip him, which again I hope reason overcomes and that doesn't happen, then economically he actually loses big time even his next fight.
So absolutely. We were just talking about that.
You add up all these losses and that injury on the job, that hurts big time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Switching gears, we'll let you get out of here in a second. I know this is probably difficult for you to answer and just say it as best as you can, but I think anyone that listens to the show would give me shit if I didn't ask. What is next for Conor McGregor? When are we likely to see him back in there? There you go, everyone. I fucking asked the question, okay? I asked the question. Go fuck yourself.
Listen. Conor's been training from the beginning of the year. He's made that known publicly. He is, all these other rumors and people saying, oh, he never fights again. Will he ever fight again? Dude's an ultra competitor, and he is not done writing his own story. So, when is that? I don't know. But I could tell you that it's things are heating up, and as you see just by his own social media, he's staying ready. And so people say, oh, why didn't he step in? I don't think the UFC will risk trying to throw him in on a week's notice. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's the biggest asset. And you're a fool to think it's not. And at the end of the day, so I respect that, and they get that. That's another thing I heard Dana say. So I respect that. And at the end of the day, it makes complete business sense. But I can tell you things that he knows, so we'll see.
All right, Lewis. Anything else before we let Audie go?
No, I just want to say thanks, Audie. I feel, to be honest with you, I feel worse for you than I feel for anybody in the situation, because as soon as a punch is thrown on Saturday night, both of your champions are losing their title, and you are the one who has to sit there and just keep a smile on your fucking face.
Don't go being another member of the media now. That doesn't happen for Tony, and quite frankly, it doesn't even happen for China, even though that they've officially announced it in an official capacity. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And we've known about that, right? So, but don't go jinxing us with the double now.
I'm sorry.
I mean, let's work through that other point.
I'm on Team Audie.
Don't feel bad for me either. Let me tell you something. Both of those guys are great fighters, great competitors. Look, Conor's changed the game, and everybody needs to realize that he's going to be all right. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the best thing that's happening to the sport and the promotion is the fact that he wants to still compete. So,
hey, whoa, steady on, Audie. I'm a fucking client of yours as well, buddy. Conor changed the game.
Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Did you ask me the question? What do you want me to do? Give you great content and shut the fuck up?
Let's fucking talk about how fucking Conor changed the game.
Oh,
fucking changed shit around something.
And also, to be honest, Audie, I don't really feel bad for you. After that Conor fight, you made more money than I'm ever going to make in my lifetime just managing Conor after the Mayweather fight. So I don't feel bad at all.
You know why you should feel bad for me? Because your fucking partner just walked me into like a lion's lair and asked me a question and then shits on me on national radio broadcast. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, I'm kidding.
International.
All right, listen, Audie, we always much love, brother. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, pal.
Yep.
All right, man. Let's hit the gym this week.
All right, guys. Cheers. Yes, sir. Okay, guys. Bye.
Later, buddy. Thanks, Audie.
Love Audie. Always a great sport. Always super
fucking
cool.
Conor changed the game.
What are you gonna do? He changed the fucking game.
Changed the game.
Michael Bisping, you're merely you're merely.
Go on.
Oh, did you hang up on Mike? No, he was good.
I'm here.
All right. You're merely a player in Conor's game.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a pawn in his game of chess.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm more of a bishop. I could at least go diagonally.
Yeah. No, I'd say
Do you play chess, Lewis?
I mean, I know the rules of chess. I was in chess club when I was in high school because I just wanted to be different.
Nerd.
Yeah, but I know the rules. I can play. If I play a chick, like just some broad who can't play, I can fucking dominate. But anybody who knows how to play, I can't sit down in the park and play like a homeless guy. He'll embarrass me.
The only person you can beat at chess is a woman.
Yeah. I'm very sexist when it comes to my board games.
Yeah, no, for sure. Me too. I like to play it in the sun. I was playing chess at the weekend in the back garden, because sitting there sunbathing, it's boring.
Yeah,
it's boring. I always find it boring. So yeah, a bit of chess. But hair loss isn't just your dad's problem. It happens earlier in life than you would think. In fact, by 35, 2 out of 3 men will start losing their hair. Well, here we are introducing Keeps, a new company offering a simple, clinically proven, affordable way to stop your hair loss.
Yeah, listen, I am bald. First of all, this is what stinks about this. I was so excited to see them come on as a sponsor. I was like, holy shit, dude, I'm going to have a full head of hair. I was going to leave my family. I was going to move to California. But apparently it's not for people that are completely bald, but this is for people that are going bald. So I should have gotten this years ago. But that's a lot of our fan base. We're talking about a lot of dudes that listen to the show. Here's the deal, man. Keeps is complete with the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products. Keeps is clinically proven to keep the hair that you have. Plus, it's entirely online, and it's only $10 to $35 per month, half of what you would typically pay for other competitors. Better yet, sign up is easy, and it takes less than 5 minutes. You just answer a few questions, snap some photos of your head and hair, and then a licensed doctor remotely reaches out to you, gets more information from you, and gives you the right prescription. Within 2 to 3 days, a 3-month supply of your treatment will arrive directly to your door. That's super easy, dude.
Yeah, no, very, very easy. And it sounds amazing, to be honest, if this is something that you need. So stop hair loss today the easy way with Keeps, offering customized treatment plans with only FDA-approved hair loss products for about $1 a day from the comfort of your couch. To receive your first month of treatment for free, go to keeps.com/believe. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/believe. That's a free month of treatment at keeps.com/believe. Keeps, hair today, hair tomorrow. Keep your goddamn hair, Lewis. Too late for you, buddy, I guess.
All right, let's get back into it.
Who do you think, Khabib or Max Holloway? We haven't spoke about that.
I mean, look, Khabib's going to kill him. What do you want me to say here? Khabib's a bigger fighter. He's ready. He's been training for a fight. Look, I don't know how much of a difference the training would have been. I know that Tony Ferguson is, wizard on the ground, very unique, blah, 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 submissions. And, Max is a smaller version of what Tony can do. I don't see them being so far different of fighters that it's going to make that much of a difference. I think that Khabib's going to get it to the ground at will. I think he's too solid of a grappler, too good of a wrestler. And I think the fact that Max is coming into this on short notice, I know that his camp had petitioned to make it a 170-pound fight, meaning that he's having a really hard weight cut as well. So many variables and factors make me believe that, Max is going to be overmatched. And I believe that I know that, he is coming up. He's not losing too much stock, but it isn't the greatest thing of all time to go get your ass beat by Khabib if you're trying to set up this big fight down the line.
You're right. In some senses, though, it is a win-win for Max Holloway because all these news websites, MMA websites, MMA wannabe journalists, should I say, on these fucking websites, they're all giving Max Holloway major props, which you should get because it is a ballsy move stepping up and fighting Khabib, such a dominant force on such short notice. If he loses, he's okay because he was expected to lose. He took the fight on short notice, but he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make a lot of money out of this. Now, of course, he wants to win. He wants his legacy to be that of, one of the best fighters in the world. Bear in mind, though, Lewis, everything you just said, I agree with. He's the smaller guy. He's on short notice, cardio, blah, 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 blah. Khabib should win. Remember Nate Diaz stepping in on a week's notice to fight Conor McGregor?
That's true.
What happened there?
Stylistically, though, dude, if I got to...
Remember Michael Bisping stepping up on 2 weeks' notice to face Luke Rockhold? What happened there?
Woo!
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
That's a good point.
The crazier things have been known to happen.
I think that would be way crazier.
I think that would be way crazier.
Max beating Khabib this Saturday night is way crazier than you versus Luke. It's way crazier than fucking Nate versus Conor. I'm sorry, dude. That's not like...
The point I'm making is that things like this have happened.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no giving in MMA. Max is no pussy on the feet. He's a great fighter. He took out Jose Aldo twice in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jose Aldo got knocked out of Conor, yes, but then went off, beat Frankie Edgar, still looked amazing. Max Holloway beat the shit out of him consecutively. 2 fights back to back, didn't give a shit. And he's just getting better and better. So with those small gloves on, anything can happen. Now, of course, he had this ankle injury. That's why he pulled out the Frankie Edgar fight. So you think that would have to affect his cardio. It would have to. So if you're Max Holloway, you got a round, 2 rounds of high pace. So I expect Max to try and put it on him from the start. If Khabib gets him down, starts going, Khabib time, takes him to town, the ground and pound, all that shit, he's fucked.
Max the purple belt.
The fight.
Just received his purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Ooh.
It's not looking good. If you're betting on this fight,
if it was brown, no problem.
Bet the house on Khabib. I don't give a fuck, dude. Put your kids' college fund on it. Whatever. I don't care what the odds are. What are the odds, Harrington?
Hey, listen. I was fighting Anderson Silva, who I beat in an amazing fight in London, 2016. The week after that fight was Conor versus Nate Diaz. Of course, in the Anderson Silva fight, all the press lead up to it, everyone was saying the news is just broken. Nate Diaz is stepping in to fight Conor McGregor. How do you see that fight going? Every single interview, I said, I guarantee Conor McGregor is going to beat the shit out of Nate Diaz. Guarantee it. Put all your money on Conor McGregor because Conor cannot lose this fight.
Yeah.
Simple as that. 1 week's notice, no way. I was wrong.
That's it. That would have been a bad bet, and we did a show together, and I completely disagreed with you.
No, you didn't. You're full of shit.
I swear to God, First of all, I'm a Diaz supporter through and through. If you fought Nick Diaz tomorrow, I'd be betting on Nick Diaz. I'm sorry. I didn't never bet against the Diaz brothers. I never bet against the Diaz brothers.
I'm not sure what to do with that statement.
You're furious. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Goddamn son of a bitch.
No, I would.
Hey, listen. Your performance at the Comedy Store, by the way, Lewis and his Legion of Skanks people performed at the Comedy Store in Hollywood last week, and I went along, and it was incredible. It was great. But I got to say, very, very racist. Racist against white people.
Me?
Racist against black people.
What?
Basically, anyone that isn't Puerto Rican
Who?
got a lot of shit. Yes, you
Yeah.
racist fuck.
All right, fine, cool. I don't give a shit. One of my jokes, I literally say, he's not even joking. One of my jokes, I say, this is a quote. This is a line. You can literally just take it out. I hate white people and I hate black people. That's a quote. That's part of a joke.
Oh, God.
So yeah, and I gotta say thank you. You came out on Thursday night to the Comedy Store. You, Mickey Gall, Eve Edwards. We had a bunch of fucking fighters in the crowd, which made us look badass.
Joe Schilling.
Oh yeah, Joe Schilling was there, which is awesome.
Joe Schilling was there. Yeah, Joe Schilling was there. It was awesome. He stiffed me with the bill.
No,
I was driving. The manager of the Comedy Store came over and he's like, "Hey man, real nice guy, fucking really impressive mustache that the guy had." And he's like, "Hey man, big fan. It's really great to have you here. Yada yada yada. Can I send you and your friends over a round of drinks?"
Nice.
I said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Yeah, send a round of beers over. Thank you very much." So he sent a round of beers over, and I'm driving, so I had one beer. Okay, one beer and drank water. 5 minutes later, another round of beers come. And another round of beers come. And another round of beers come. I'm thinking, holy shit, this manager's like really hooking the crew up here. You know, but I'm not drinking them. And all my boys, the Jason Perillo's getting stuck in. My agent's getting stuck in. Everyone's drinking, having a grand old time. We're like, fucking Comedy Store. This place rocks. Holy shit, I'm coming back next week. I'm leaving the car. Fuck that, I'm getting an Uber next week. And then at the end, the bill comes for like $225 for like 27 beers or something. I'm like, what the fuck? So I didn't want to make a scene, so I paid it. And then as I left, and by the way, you know, I'm not throwing him under a bus. It was very nice. When Joe Schilling came out, him and his friends and Mickey Gall, they'd been ordering the beers.
That's
down
hilarious.
at the other end of the table, which I had no idea. I paid the check. But then Joe Schilling came and said, "Whoa, my." He said, "You didn't need to do that." Here, he offered me some money. God bless him. I said, no, you're fine. Yeah. And then as a stand-up guy that Joe Schilling is, I don't really know him. The next day, again, he messaged me on Instagram, "Hey, bro, you didn't need to pay for those drinks. You know, so next time it's on me." So that was really, really cool. Joe Schilling, great fighter. Never met him before, but
cool guy.
A bit of fun there. I'm not trying to make out he's a cheap bastard.
No.
In fact, quite the opposite. He offered to...
he's the only one. Mickey Gall and Eve Edwards are the cheap bastards.
Yeah, Mickey Gall, Eve Edwards, yeah. The only one that offered was Jason Perillo. He put his hand in his pocket, give me $40. I'm like, okay, thanks. I will take that, actually.
Dude, how big is Joe Schilling, though? He's huge.
What does he fight at, 170 or
185? He's a big guy, dude.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was bigger than what I thought he was. Yeah.
I guess him and Mickey have linked up. And they're doing, but I got to say, thank you, Los Angeles, which I love LA. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did go dominate the Joe Rogan Experience last week. Really.
Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. Well, sorry, you did go on the Joe Rogan Experience. I started watching it last week. I've got to go back to that and watch it. How was that experience, Lewis?
It was great, dude. Rogan's fucking, yeah, dude. He's definitely set himself up his own little, like, private Disneyland for, like, dudes there. He's got a bow and arrow.
I've got to respond to his message because he keeps asking me to go on it, and I do want to go on it, so I am going to do that. So,
you
Joe,
have to.
I know you're not listening, but I will respond to the message. But, Lewis, you did say that he's like one of the most alpha dudes you've ever met.
Yeah. Like, you go in, and he's like, hey, you guys play pool? And then he just does like a trick shot as he makes eye contact with you. I'm like, no, I don't play pool, Joe. He's like, have you ever drank elk blood? Here, chug. I'm like, what?
What about the crossbow?
Dude, he has a compound bow range in his podcast studio. So he literally, like, you walk in and he's like, you guys ever shoot a bow? And then he does like a 500-yard bullseye shot in between a fake deer head.
And then you asked if you can fire the bow, and he's like, fuck no.
No, we didn't ask, but we definitely wanted to play with his toys, and he wasn't offering them, so we didn't want to ask. It's just like, dude, the other thing is, like, look, I'm a nerd, dude. Like, I take it as very, I look at it as like almost like in a very hippie salesman way of like looking at things. Like, I started doing a podcast about MMA 7-8 years ago. Me and Dave Smith press record on a phone in a bedroom. And then, 8 years later, I'm sitting across from Joe Rogan, who has the number 1 podcast in the world. And you kind of go like, if that isn't proof that you can kind of put your mind to something and just kind of have a goal, I can barely speak English. I'm not even good at talking. And I've created a whole career out of speaking into microphones. It's crazy.
Well, you know what, Lewis, we weren't going to talk about this, but you're absolutely right. I truly believe that anyone, if they put their minds to it, can achieve what they want to achieve. Now, of course, you've got to be realistic. You can't say, I'm going to be a fucking astronaut, or I'm going to be an Olympic high jumper if, unfortunately, you're in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? I put my mind to it, I can do anything within reason. An old friend of mine, Jacko, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, he was living with his dad, he wasn't doing well for cash and this and that, and I'm like, dude, you can do anything, Jacko, if you put your mind to it. And he used to say, that's easy for you, Mike. You've always been able to fight or do this or do that. I'm like, hold on a minute. Getting to where I am, where I was to where I am now wasn't easy. That took a lot of visualization. It took a lot of thought, figured out what I want to do, and then you have to put the plans into action. Everybody has a talent, everybody has a skill, and if you just stop and give it some thought about what you want to do and how you can use your skills, only the individual, only one knows what they are good at, what they're truly good at. Maybe the world doesn't know that, but they know inside themselves, I can do this. And if you believe in yourself that you have that skill, you think, okay, well, with that skill, I could do whatever it is. I could become a world famous director, or run a podcast network, or I could do this, or whatever it may be. I have this skill, I could do that. Now, what do I need to do to achieve that? So then you put out the steps. You make the plan. I've got to do this, I've got to go to college, I've got to work here, I've got to be an intern, whatever it is. And it isn't glamorous to start with, because nothing's ever easy. I said I was going to be a world champion MMA fighter and then get into acting. That was always the plan. I used to sleep in my fucking car. The early parts are always hard, and that's where people give up. But if you've got the perseverance and the dedication and the self-belief to get there, then you will achieve it, so.
And it's also kind of like,
Lewis,
you talk about like self-belief. It's like, I think a lot of the problem is, right, people, anything that seems intangible, right, people go like, all right, that's just fucking crazy, I'm not going to go for that. And they're always reaching for the thing
that's ridiculous, that
is right in front of them. And I think if you can sort of believe in the intangible, this is what I used to, train sales teams. This is a very like, to come in and do a sales job and hear the word no and then not have that make you dejected is kind of difficult. But if you start to think of it in terms of numbers and go, all right, well, 1 out of 6 people say yes. And you go, all right, well, every time I get a no, technically I'm closer to that yes. You start to get excited about getting through those no's, So having this belief in this intangible thing, if you can get to those steps in your mind, I think then it becomes really easy. A lot of people can't get there in their mind and believe that they're going to be a millionaire, or believe that they're going to do whatever is their bigger picture goal is. And if you don't believe it, you're not going to be projecting that onto other people, and other people aren't going to believe it, right? So it's all about self-belief. And the truth is, if you're not selling yourself, nobody's going to sell you better than you're going to sell yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, as you say, if you don't believe it, people can see that, and they can see, hold on, I moved this camera. There we go. I've got to get longer headphones. You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, if you don't think you can do it, then why the fuck is anyone else going to think it? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I always say this, and this isn't a case of me being humble. This is a case of me truly fucking meaning this. If I can do this, the fact that I'm sitting here in Orange County, California, in a beautiful house, right? I was a former UFC champion of the world. I've done a bunch of movies. I've got some other stuff coming out. We're having this podcast. I'm drinking from a beautiful My Protein silver shaker. I've got a Maserati and a Range Rover on the driveway. I've got money in the bank. If I can do that, then fuck me, anyone can do it. Because believe me, I was destined to fail. I didn't pay attention at school. I left school at 16. I did dead-end job after dead-end job. I got into a lot of trouble, and I was going nowhere fast. And then eventually I came to a point in my life where I was like, right, enough is enough. I fucked around for long enough. What am I going to do with my life? You know, and as I say, you got to look at your skills. Then you got to have the realization and be realistic of what you can achieve, and then say, right, well, what is the maximum I can do with that skill? And then how do I get there? And put the steps into motion, so on and so forth. And there's the big myself up 5-minute segment for Michael Bisping.
It's not bad, though. It was good. It was very motivating.
It's not bad. It is very much. It's true, though. It is true. I'm joking. I'm trying to put a light spin on it at the end, but I absolutely, truly do mean that. And I say that to my friends all the time. I said, dude, if I can do it, anyone can fucking do it. Yeah, there you go. Should we do some questions?
Yeah, let's get some questions going. You know what? Let me ask you a question.
I don't know. How long have we been going?
We're about an hour, but I'm not in a huge hurry. I have another question, though, because I think this is kind of interesting.
Well, I'm not in a hurry either, so carry on.
Okay, so this is something actually I talked about.
The bathroom.
You got to use the bathroom?
Yeah, but I'll go in a minute. I'll go in a few.
No. Listen, go piss. I'll do a quick plug for what else am I going to plug? I'll plug the Reddit and all that stuff. Go take a piss. I'll do a plug real quick. Guys, look, if you love the show, go to iTunes right now. Leave us a 5-star ranking, positive review. Tell a couple friends about the show. That's the best thing you can do for the Believe You Me podcast. We know we want you to subscribe on Gas Digital and use the promo code BYM, blah, 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 blah. All that shit is great. The reality is, tell some friends about the show. Go on to Reddit. Go on to different message boards. Go onto the underground. Tell people about the Believe You Me podcast. You know what the fuck is up, doggies. We're not one of these other podcasts that are sitting here and we're trying to be proper and fucking know all the details. And we're not cutting any crazy fucking, MMA philosophy here. Actually, we are. To be honest with you, we're better than most of the other ones. I'm being very hard on ourselves. We're actually better at all that shit too. But we're also very fucking funny, and we're very real, and we don't really take ourselves too seriously on the show. So I love doing the show. I know Mike loves doing it as well. So if you guys love it, tell some friends about the show, and also go visit the Reddit page. These guys put together an awesome Reddit page, reddit.com/r/BelieveYouMe. I know it's got a few hundred subscribers now, but yeah, get that page going on, dude, because me and Mike both go to that page sometimes, and we'll both post there, and we'll both check out what you guys are saying, and we love the feedback on the show, so you guys are fucking great. And you know what, Shannon? Take a moment to jump on the Shannon can. Come on, guys. Shannon, give everyone something to touch themselves to later on tonight.
I have bags under my eyes today. It was a long night.
Yeah, Shannon had a crazy night. We won't get into what Shannon did last night, but if you guys, she's not a good chick.
Yeah, no. Everybody wants to see more of Shannon.
I know. Everybody
wants to see more of Shannon. Put Shannon back on. I don't know what you were talking about. A crazy night last night, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the 200th.
I want to know.
The 200th episode of the SDR show, so we all kind of partied hard.
Yeah, they did. We won't talk about it. You have kids that listen to the show.
Okay. All right. Where were we? You had a question for me regarding
because look, this is something that I brought up on Rogan's show, and he sort of disagreed with me on this, and I don't know. I kind of hold on this, firm to this idea. Do you think that fans of MMA have the right to boo?
Ooh.
Because I think
fans of MMA. Listen, I'll say this. I think if you're a consumer, a customer of anything, and you've parted ways with your hard-earned money, and you go into somewhere, and I wanted this fight, and I was expecting it to be this way, and the promo said it was going to be the sickest fight ever, and these guys never take a backward step, and they knock each other out, and fight of the fucking century, and you're like, oh my God, I want to go, and you get there, and they're both being very timid, and they're not engaging, and then they lie on top of each other for 5 rounds. I'm going to say, yeah, you got a right to go, fuck these guys.
Yeah. I agree. It's just, it's also a sport.
A fan has no right to boo an MMA fighter.
Yeah, well, Rogan disagrees with us because he was like, no, I feel like it's just go watch the show we did, but I understand how it's sort of disrespectful to the martial arts side of it, but they're not.
Very disrespectful to the martial arts side of it, but guess what? They don't give a fuck. They're half lit. They've had 8 bottles of Bud Light, whatever. They've had some shitty food at a crappy restaurant on the way in. They want to be entertained.
And this might be the one time per year they get to do something like that. It is those tickets are super expensive, and the experience at a sporting event, cheering and booing for the guys you love or hate, it's kind of part of the sporting experience. And UFC, mixed martial arts, it's billed as a sport, dude. That Fox music comes on, it feels like it's a sporting event. And I feel as if you're branding it that way, American sports fans they boo when they don't like something. And I almost feel like that's also part of the experience. As a fighter, does that affect you at all? If somebody starts booing you in the cage during the fight, are you kind of like, wait a minute, I got to step it up? Or do you not even hear it?
No. For the most part, you don't really hear it. I mean, yes, of course, sometimes when there's 20,000 people going, boo, yeah, you'd have to be a moron to not actually be aware of that. But just going back to what you said, of course, that's sports, and people are going to cheer for the hometown guy. People are going to boo for the away guy, the person that they want to win. Now, going back to what Rogan said, if you're a mixed martial artist, that's a different thing. You know, you should respect what the sport is about. You should respect the transitions or whatever. You should respect what they're going through mentally, emotionally at that moment in time. Sometimes if you're trying to engage with a fighter, I look back at a couple of fights, I thought, shit, I should have done more. Why didn't I attack then? And then I think, oh, yeah, hold on a minute. That's right. Because every time I took a step towards him, I felt the air on my face from a punch that nearly took my head off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was why I was taking my time a little bit, because he came close to knocking me out on several occasions. If you're a fighter and you're watching, you know what these guys are going through. So you definitely should not boo then. And if you train with some martial artists or some mixed martial artists, then you shouldn't boo. You should have respect for what they're going through. But I feel that as an average consumer, an average bloke on the street that's bought a ticket, if you want to boo, you can boo. If you want to cheer, you want to cheer. I don't think there's any prerequisite as to how you should behave. Listen, behave with class, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is a free country. You can boo someone playing football. You're not going to say to me that someone that's dedicated their entire life to being a professional football player and they go out there and they're a footballer and they're getting booed. Well, they've made the same sacrifices as a mixed martial artist to get to where they are. Now, in terms of the sports, of course, fighting for a living is much harder than being a footballer or a soccer player or whatever it is. But the sacrifices they've made to get to the very, very top, the absolute utmost, the highest pinnacle of that sport, is even harder in some ways to be the top footballer, or to be a Tom Brady in football, or a David Beckham in soccer or whatever. You got to be really good. You got to make a lot of sacrifices. They still get fucking booed. So why shouldn't we? Yes, you know, it is a little different. There's honor, respect. But if you're just a customer, then you can do whatever you want, I say, to a certain degree.
You also got to be careful, too, because I saw this happen when I was at a fight in Jersey and I saw some dude boo. And there was a guy who must have known the guy, maybe a training partner, maybe in his gym. And they got into a fucking thing, and it turned into a fight. So you don't even know who's in the crowd. They give out their tickets to their friends. They got a lot of local guys. You're gonna start booing some undercard dude, and then his fucking training partner is gonna head kick you in the head because he's had 10 beers too, and he's not even in the UFC, so he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. You know. I was just thinking. I was trying to think of a situation where anything like that ever happened to me, where I've been in a fight and someone has been shouting things out, and I couldn't really remember one, but I do remember. UFC 114. I was fighting Dan Miller, co-main event, UFC 114. Rashad versus Rampage Jackson, main event. And I was walking down from my hotel room in the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, down to the arena. As I'm walking through the casino to get to the arena part, you know, it's Saturday night, it's a fight weekend in Las Vegas. Everyone's drunk, everyone's partying, they're having a good time. And some fat dickhead of a fan as one of those long, like yard-long beer glasses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like super long, made of plastic and a big round bit at the end. I'll just say this right now. If you're walking through anywhere with one of those, don't do that. You look like an idiot. You look like a drunk. Shannon, tell me you weren't doing that last night.
No,
but if you're a person, anybody that goes out there and drinks out of those receptacles, yeah, you're kind of a moron. Or for that moment in time, you were a moron. Anyway, so we got this big Mexican dude, and he's following me with this fucking yard or whatever you call them, asshole glass. And he's talking shit, and he's following me, and I'm walking with my team down to the arena for a fight. So I'm in fight mode, you know what I mean? And I'm walking through it, and he's carrying on, and I'm ignoring him, and and then he said, yeah, hope you get fucking knocked out like you did last time against Henderson, you fucking bitch. And I was like, okay, that's enough. Turned around and said, what the fuck did you just say? Needless to say, you know, he didn't say anything else. But that would be the only time I've had a situation like that with a so-called fan.
Yeah, I think the other problem is people look at you as being like, I got to be honest with you. I almost like, I weirdly, he's got his hand down his pants too.
Say hi. All right, he said, why have you got your hands down your pants?
Hey, Lucas.
Right,
I
get
know
out
why.
of the office.
He's a
Shut the
Bisping.
door. Get out. Sorry about that.
That was why he's a Bisping.
Get out. Shut the door. Go on. All right, go on. Sorry.
It's all good.
You're in the middle of something very important, Lewis.
I'm
I
sure
apologize.
I was. What was I even talking about?
Oh, I don't know. It was good, though. I was enthralled.
I know you were. Well, no, just talking about, oh, yeah, I think a fan, I would assume that a UFC fighter wouldn't punch me.
No, for sure. They wouldn't. Yeah, no, absolutely. Never in a million years would a UFC fighter punch someone in the street. You can say, listen, get the fuck out of here, you idiot, you moron, you drunk asshole.
Well, not never in a million years. It happens. Because you know what? They invited me to do Jim Norton and Matt Serra's podcast. Matt Serra was going to be out one day, and it was Jorge Masvidal was going to be in as the guest.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because that asshole's been talking more shit.
Oh, good. All right. Well, tell me what he said in a second. But here's my point. I didn't even tell Norton that he had an issue with you or me or the podcast. Like he had tweeted at us. He shitted on me specifically. In my mind, I was like, all right, dude, let me just go do Jim Norton's podcast with Jorge Masvidal, because the worst thing that could happen is he'll just be rude to me and it'll fucking be a great little moment on the show. I'm sure it'll be funny. We can make some edit. I didn't think that it would get to the point where he would punch me, but then I started going like, wait a minute. These guys are like some fucking. I watch like backyard fight videos with Jorge Masvidal from years ago. There's a chance he would punch me in the face.
Yeah, well, there is a chance he'd punch you in the face because he's a classless piece of shit. Any trained mixed martial artist is not going to get into a violent altercation with a member of the public simply because, come on, it wouldn't be fair. And on top of that, we are trained, to be able to deal with a situation, even if it was a violent situation. We're trained to be able to deal with that without it becoming violent, without it becoming violent to us and us inflicting violence upon an innocent member of the public. But Jorge Masvidal is just a piece of shit. And, we've gone back and forth several times over the last few years. And, I've done my best to ignore him. But once again, because remember a while ago, he was sending me private messages on Instagram, remember?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
then he put them on a post and, he made the private messages public and this and that. And to be honest, those messages that he put, he just looked like an asshole, and I looked like a very level-headed, mature human being that I am, Lewis. But again, here we are. He's talking at it on a website which shall remain nameless unless Lewis wants to mention it. But here we go, and I've got to say this, and typically I wouldn't even give this any time, but it's just such massive lies that I feel that I have to. He's talking about one time we were in China recently for Shanghai when I fought there, and he says, hold on, where is it? Hold on, where is the bit? He said I was with my family. He said I was with my wife and kids. I'm not even on the right story. He says I was with my wife and kids. And I can't find it. Anyway, here's what he says. He says that he was walking through the hotel or something in Shanghai, and I'm with my wife and kids. So he sees me and he looks away because he doesn't want to have no shit with my wife and kids there, because Masvidal's such a fucking stand-up dude, man. He wouldn't do that. But me being such a dick, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, yo, Masvidal, fuck you. So then, he's like, well, I ain't going to take that from no punk. But I'm like, dude, you got your wife and kids with you. And Michael Bisping, was like, I don't give a fuck about them. I was trying to start shit.
You threw your wife at Masvidal.
Yeah. According to him, this is what I was doing. My wife and children were not in fucking China, okay? They did not come to Shanghai for that fucking fight, okay? So let's just start with that, Jorge Masvidal, you fucking lying little scumbag fucking rat, okay? Please, stop talking about me. Leave my name out of your slimy little bloody bad breath, unbrushed teeth mouth, okay? You fucking little slimy bastard. Stop it. You're just making yourself look stupid. And, of course, I'm not going to get into it all, but my wife and children weren't in China, okay? Shut up, please.
I don't know, man. His story sounds pretty believable. You actually took Lucas by the foot and started using him as a bat to hit Jorge with.
He's like, dude, that was your side family, okay?
That might be true. Your Chinese family?
I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, I'm living a double life here.
Oh, shit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right, really quick, we got to talk about BetDSI, who has been with the show for a really long time. We love BetDSI. Awesome, easy-to-use website. If you guys gamble on sports, you already know of BetDSI. If you don't gamble on sports, you've probably at least heard of BetDSI because they're one of the most trusted names in online betting. Mike, we always use the website to go have some fun. You love throwing some cash down on fights. You have some major insight on all this stuff. Major fight coming in this weekend. What do you think, dude? Holloway, huge underdog coming into the fight. Do you think this is a smart bet?
Yeah, well, the thing is, this fight just happened, so I'm not sure what the odds are yet, but I think it's safe to say that Holloway will be a massive underdog. Now, you know the deal with betdsi.com. Go to the website, betdsi.com, register, use the promo code ME25. You get $25 just for registering. I say, listen, I know we spoke about this privately. Nobody's giving Holloway a chance. But it is MMA, so take that free $25, put it on Holloway. That would be my advice. It's free money. You can put it on Khabib, but, he's going to be a big, big favorite. Take that free $25 by using the promo code ME25 on betdsi.com. Put it on Max Holloway, and who knows, you might turn that into quite a significant sum. Of course, if you put any money down, they will triple that money, give you a 200% bonus match. $100 turns into $300, $10 turns into $30, so on and so forth. As you were saying, betdsi.com, you've all heard of them. That's because they've been in business for over 20 years. Great customer service is also available 24/7, 365. It has built a reputation on fast payment on winning. So please go to betdsi.com, use the promo code ME25, and get involved with the fun.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get some questions. If you guys want to join the conversation, you can do so by shooting us an email, bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com, bym for believe you me at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Always end the show with a few questions. We always answer them as honestly as possible. First question from Martin from Krakow. Martin wants to know, funny, why is Michael mocking his heritage? This guy's upset about you mocking your heritage.
Yeah, well, he's from Krakow because he's Polish, obviously. I've never mocked my heritage, but I don't take myself too seriously. Martin from Krakow. Or should I say Lewis? Read what he has to say.
Funny because in the last podcast I've heard about making jokes from Irish and Polish people, and I quote, because they are dumb, quote unquote.
That I am Irish and Polish.
Well, that's what he's saying.
It's a joke. It's a stereotype, Martin from Krakow.
As far as I'm concerned.
Are you so dumb? You can't see the irony? Are you so dumb? What is that? Are you so dumb you can't see when you've won? What movie is that?
I don't know, but I love your American accent.
Are you such a loser? You can't figure out when you've won. I said, you could call me a fucking loser. He said, no, I didn't call you a loser. I said, are you such a loser you can't figure out when you've won?
Ooh,
what
deep.
movie is that? Does it even sound familiar?
Nope.
All right, okay, go fuck yourself. That was
a
terrible game. Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, I don't remember it.
And Harvey Keitel says to George Clooney when they're having a beer and he's about to go start a fight, and he said, you got the FBI, the CIA, they're all looking for you. Are you such a loser you can't see when you've won? Anyway, whatever, going off on a tangent. Martin from Krakow, get over it. My mum's Irish.
Well, he says, as far as I'm concerned, your mum is Irish and his dad, Jan Conrad, is Polish. So with that being said, I'm a little confused, and I want to ask Michael, why are you making fun of your parents when you are, in fact, from an Irish and Polish descent? But I'm going to say right now, Martin seems like a lot of fun to hang out with, just to have a beer with. A good time.
For sure. He definitely doesn't take himself too serious, and certainly sees the brighter side in the subjects that we talk about. But Martin, you listen, buddy, I'm having a laugh. Of course, I don't think people from Ireland are dumb. And I don't think people from Ireland are dumb. From Poland are dumb either, unless you are truly dumb, unless you can't see the irony in things, unless you can't clearly see when someone's having a laugh or having a joke. If you can't see when someone's having a laugh or having a joke, maybe you're not the brightest person in the world.
Yeah, maybe you're the problem. And also, here's the thing, a style of comedy, which is very popular in Britain, is sarcasm and self-deprecation, which is like, you're making fun of yourself in that case. That's the whole point. The answer to your question is, it's because it's funny. If you just make fun of other people, which is kind of funny because you mentioned before that I do these racist jokes, quote unquote, where I'm making fun of other races. That's actually a harder.
Racist. Yes, that's what I said. Yeah,
it's a harder pill to swallow. But if I'm making fun of Puerto Ricans and everyone goes, "Oh, this is funny, this is great," so you have to be a brilliant comedic genius the way that I am in order to get away with doing something like that. Michael Bisping's taking the easiest route. Is the point?
You are a fantastic comedic genius, Lewis. And in fact, you are actually very, very funny. And I did say this, Lewis. I do believe one day you will be a famous comedian. I do believe that.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm pretty well known right now. Pretty successful so far. Make six figures
one
doing.
One day, Lewis. One day. One step at a time, pal.
Next question.
Martin from Krakow. We're having a joke, buddy. We're having a joke. And if we offended you, go fuck yourself. Next question.
One day, Lewis. One day you'll be able to be taken seriously.
Lewis, I don't care what everyone says about you. I think you're pretty funny.
All right, next.
Isn't that hey, Mike Bisping, I don't care what anyone says about you. I think you're okay.
No,
so, okay, two things. What the fuck are people saying? And secondly, you think I'm okay?
You're in my top five.
Next question.
Next. All right. Hey, guys, my name is Jake King. I love the show from Harlem, Montana, different Harlem than I live in. My question is for the champ, Mike, would you ever consider headlining a fight night again? And if so, why not bring the UFC to Montana? I know you have some pull. To see if we can bring it to the Blue Sky State. And what a shitty question, Harrington. What a terrible question.
Yeah, Harrington, listen, you've managed to go unscathed this episode. I'm glad that someone from Montana reminded us. But Harrington, come on, buddy. Montana, listen, buddy, if I have one more fight, it's going to be my last. And no disrespect to Montana. I hear it's beautiful. I hear the countryside is fantastic. I'm sure the people are great. And I'm sure the local cuisine is very good. But I don't want my last fight to be Montana. I'm just being honest. I've got no ties to Montana. I've never been to Montana. I want to go to Montana. I want to stop saying fucking Montana. I don't want to fight in Montana. But I appreciate the question. I appreciate the love for the show. If I fight one more time, I did show some interest in Liverpool, but don't think that's going to be happening. But, there may still be one more yet. But there you go. Yeah. One more question. One more question, then I got to go because Alfie, my German Shepherd, he's been away. He's been on a vacation, shall we say, for the last 8 days with Tom from Off Leash Live.
I saw the video.
You saw the video?
Yeah, really cool.
We're getting back in about an hour, and hopefully it's going to be a new dog. Well, not hopefully. Alfie was awesome, but hopefully he won't eat the other dog, Harry, and he does as he's told. He sits and this and that and all this stuff. Check out the video, Tom from Off Leash Live. That's on my Instagram page, Mike Bisping. Give me a follow. Give Lewis a follow, and give Off Leash Live a follow. Lewis, next question.
Next question. Also, I will tell you right now, the top 3 things to do in Montana, the Beartooth Highway. You could visit a highway. You go to the Playmill Theater.
I love a good highway. I mean, I spent so much time in traffic. Yeah. Visit a highway. Number 2.
The Playmill Theater. You could go see some unknown off Broadway.
Definitely way off Broadway, yeah.
And then number 3 is the Grinnell Glacier. There's a glacier you can go look at.
That actually sounds pretty cool, though. I do like glaciers. I do like glaciers.
Do you really like glaciers?
Things like that. Yeah, no, I went to Switzerland when I was a kid. I went with the Cubs. Sorry, the Scouts. I went with the Scouts to the Boy Scouts to Switzerland when I was a kid, and we went inside some glaciers and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty. I didn't give a shit for it at the time when I was 10. But now as an adult, I would like to go back there and check it out and actually have a look. So, yeah, maybe I will go to Montana and check out the glacier, whatever.
All right. Final question. This is Michael Mulhern from the UK. Big fan of the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake and, of course, the legendary Mikey B. Just wanted to ask Mike, what is the most important aspect of fighting? Chin, conditioning, skills, or mindset? And also for the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake, as a known killer, do you think you could beat any 135-pounder? All right, let me just answer that really quick. No. I don't. Why do people ask these questions? I actually would rather fight a heavyweight because a heavyweight would just knock me out. A 135-pounder would just beat me up and make me bleed. A 135-pounder would knock me out too. But I think it would be...
What about 125?
A chick? I think I could beat any 125-pound female fighter.
No, a 125-pound man. What about a 125-pound man? Because now, odds are starting to tip in your favor in terms of size.
No, because I don't actually know how to fight. So I know how to fight like a dude in the street, sort of, like I know how to handle myself. But a fighter that knows how to fight, a little 125-pound dude.
What about a 10-year-old kid that's done MMA for 5 years?
I think I could beat up any 3 or 4 10-year-old kids that have been doing MMA. I don't care how long they've trained MMA.
If they'd done MMA for a long time, would you hold back, though, and think, well, he's only a kid, or would you think he's done MMA, so fuck this guy?
I don't take any chances. I'd knock his head off his shoulders before he could blink.
All right, go on. Give me the question.
So the question for you is, what's the most important aspect of fighting to you? And he gave a few things, but just I say in general, if you had somebody, let's say this is a good question. You see a 10-year-old kid, right? What is it that you would... If there was something in a 10-year-old kid that you saw in him that you'd be like, this kid could be a professional fighter. This is something in him that I'm like, fuck, that kid can maybe do it. So that's the question.
You know, to be honest, and I'm not taking this back to my children, you know, it's very narcissistic, but there was something that I saw that Callum, my son, my eldest, he's a fantastic wrestler right now. He just came 8th in the state of California, which is huge. Out of 25,000 wrestlers, he came 8th. And I knew he had that competitiveness in him years ago. Mm-hmm. And this is, for me, the most important aspect of being a fighter. Okay, of, you know, explosive power, that's amazing. Having a good chin, that's great. You know, speed, that's good. All these physical things that you can measure are great and very, very beneficial to have. But the one thing that you need over anything is heart. You gotta have the heart. You see so many guys that are so good, but then once they hit a bit of adversity, once things don't go their way, they crumble and they give up. I mean, Vito Belfort, I mean, he had a great career, but he's a prime example. You know, there's lots of fighters like that. They crumble when it doesn't go their way. I remember years ago, Callum was about 7 or 8, maybe younger than that. We still lived in England, and we took the dogs out for a walk down this river, and this was actually on the run, a run that I do frequently. So whilst my wife and my daughter were walking the dogs, I said, well, listen, I'm going to do my run, and I'll come round in a circle and come up behind you. And Callum said, oh, can I do the run with you? I said, yeah, sure. Rolled my eyes a little bit. I'm like, for fuck's sake, now I've got to do the run really slowly, you know what I mean, as opposed to getting a workout. But it's nice, you run with your son, so there you go. So we're running nice and slow, but for him it's hard because obviously he's only, I think he was about 8 years old. And then at the end of the run, there's these steps, and on these steps, that's when I always really put it in as hard as I can, you know, so at the top, you're ready to just fall over and collapse. And Callum was struggling on the run, and on the steps, he was going up the steps, and he was dying, and he wasn't training for anything. But he didn't want to give up. He didn't want to quit. He wanted to say that he finished without giving up. And I said to my wife right then and there after that run, I said, I tell you what, I said, you should have seen Callum on that run, babe. I said, he was dying. He was in so much pain physically. You could see it on his face, but he wouldn't stop.
That's
you
great.
know, he had that work ethic, which I've always had that. And Callum obviously has that also. And that for me is one of the most important things, because the fact that you don't stop when the going gets tough, you don't stop, that crosses over into many things. That crosses over into your preparation for the fight. You know, when you're hitting pads or whatever and you get tired, you stop and take a break. If you're sparring and you get caught with a good shot, you're going to stop and take a break. If you're in a fight and you hit adversity, you're going to fold and look for the referee to stop the fight or whatever. So that, for me, the fact you can go on, fight through adversity, in a fight, in training, for your conditioning, heart, I think is what they call it. You could sum that up as heart. You cannot teach that. You cannot teach that. You cannot measure it. On all these stats on fights, on UFC, on Fox, all this, they have measurements. They have the records, how many knockouts, they have the height, the reach, all this. It doesn't have heart on there. You cannot measure this. You either have it or you don't have it. And that is the most important aspect.
How great would that be if that was one of the stats, though? They were like...
Heart. 0. Oh, God, come on, guys. At least give me 5.
All right, look, dude, let's wrap this one. This has been a great show. Thanks, Audie Attar, for calling in and shedding some light on that whole situation. So we're watching closely this weekend.
Predictions. We'll just do main and co-main. Main and co-main.
All right,
main event, what do you think?
Main event, Khabib all the way. I couldn't imagine any scenario. I mean, I guess Khabib could get his first loss to a guy that's way smaller than him, coming off of, you know, short notice with no training, and that seems very unlikely. But and then also I got to say, dude, I think Rose has Joanna's number. I think that there's something about Rose. She's been training with Pat Barry for the longest time, dude, with a guy who's in the UFC for the longest time. She's always sort of been in my opinion, a little bit ahead of the pack. And I think now that she has the championship, I think she's really, really tough. And I think that, to be honest with you, I think she has more tools. Yeah, Joanna's a better striker. She's a better striker than everybody. But it's not just about that. You talked about how much heart it takes. I think we just see there's something about Rose and that, like, look in her eye where you're like, this bitch is crazy. I don't want to cross her. She's going to cut my throat in my sleep. Fuck that. So I say Rose all the way. Khabib all the way. I'd put money on it. If you want to take me up on that, Michael Bisping.
Yeah. To be honest, I agree. I got Khabib all the way. I think Max is, it's very admirable him stepping up, but I just think stylistically it's a bad matchup. Max isn't known for being a wrestler, perhaps. I'm sure he can stop a takedown. I'm sure he can perform a takedown. But Khabib, his wrestling is just totally at another level. And with him being smaller, without him having so much time to bring in wrestlers, top-level wrestlers, and get his takedown defense. And, of course, he had the injury. It's short notice. His cardio is going to suffer a little bit. He's stepping up a weight class. Khabib is 25-0. I'm 25-0 for a reason. No disrespect to Maxi Baby. I love Maxi Baby. And I'll be cheering for the best man to win. But I do have Khabib winning that fight. Co-main event, once again, totally agree. Anytime a woman is mad enough to shave her head off, you got to be careful with her. But listen, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I'm a big fan of Joanna. She's actually a great person. She's very cool. She's an amazing fighter. She was an incredible champion. And the way she fights, I'm a huge fan. She has perfect takedown defense. She puts together fluent combinations. That fight against Rose Namajunas, Rose has a very similar build to Joanna, but she's a little bit taller. And I think that really gave her problems. And Jędrzejczyk was fighting out of range, okay? In the past, the range she was at, maybe she would have connected with her opponents, but she'd throw combinations, she'd hit fresh air, and then Rose would counter, and she would connect. And she dropped her in the first round, then she dropped her again in the second round and finished her, knocked her out. I think Jędrzejczyk actually tapped her strikes. Since then, Jędrzejczyk went away. She made some excuses. She blamed it on a nutritionist and this and that. I don't like seeing that kind of thing. I think it's going to be a repetition of the first fight. I think it will go longer, but I do have Rose winning. Jędrzejczyk, I hope you prove me wrong. I'm a big, big fan. May the best lady win in that fight. And there you go. This has been another episode of Believe You Me. Audie Attar, thank you very much. That is that. Luis J. Gomez, you're the man. Adios, amigos. See you next week. You might turn that into quite a significant sum. Of course, if you put any money down, they will triple that money, give you a 200% bonus match. $100 turns into $300, $10 turns into $30, so on and so forth. As you were saying, betdeside.com, you've all heard of them. That's because they've been in business for over 20 years. Great customer service is also available 24/7, 365. It has built a reputation on fast payment on winning. So please go to betdeside.com, use the promo code ME25, and get involved with the fun.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get some questions. If you guys want to join the conversation, you can do so by shooting us an email, bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com, bym for Believe You Me at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Always end the show with a few questions. We always answer them as honestly as possible. First question from Martin from Krakow. Martin wants to know, funny, why is Michael mocking his heritage? This guy's upset about you mocking your heritage.
Well, he's from Krakow because he's Polish, obviously. I've never mocked my heritage, but I don't take myself too seriously. Martin from Krakow, or should I say Lewis, read what he has to say.
Funny because in the last podcast I've heard about making jokes from Irish and Polish people, and I quote, because they are dumb, quote unquote.
That I am Irish and Polish.
Well, that's what he's saying.
It's a joke. It's a stereotype, Martin from Krakow.
As far as I'm concerned,
are you so dumb you can't see the irony? Are you so dumb? What is that? Are you so dumb you can't see when you've won? What movie is that?
I don't know, but I love your American accent.
Are you such a loser? You can't figure out when you've won. I said, you could call me a fucking loser. He said, no, I didn't call you a loser. I said, are you such a loser you can't figure out when you've won?
Ooh,
what movie is that? Does it even sound familiar?
Nope.
All right, okay, go fuck yourself. That was a terrible game. Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, I don't remember it.
And Harvey Keitel says to George Clooney when they're having a beer and he's about to go start a fight, he said, you got the FBI, the CIA, they're all looking for you. Are you such a loser you can't see when you've won? Anyway, whatever, going off on a tangent. Martin from Krakow, get over it. My mum's Irish.
Well, he says, as far as I'm concerned, your mum is Irish and his dad, Jan Conrad, is Polish. So with that being said, I'm a little confused, and I want to ask Michael, why are you making fun of your parents when you are, in fact, from an Irish and Polish descent? But I'm going to say right now, Martin seems like a lot of fun to hang out with, just to have a beer with. It's a good time.
For sure. He definitely doesn't take himself too serious, and certainly sees the brighter side in the subjects that we talk about. But Martin, you listen, buddy, I'm having a laugh. Of course, I don't think people from Ireland are dumb. And I don't think people from Ireland are dumb. From Poland are dumb either, unless you are truly dumb, unless you can't see the irony in things, unless you can't clearly see when someone's having a laugh or having a joke. If you can't see when someone's having a laugh or having a joke, maybe you're not the brightest person in the world.
Yeah, maybe you're the problem. And also, here's the thing, a style of comedy, which is very popular in Britain, is sarcasm and self-deprecation, which is like, you're making fun of yourself in that case. That's the whole point. The answer to your question is, it's because it's funny. If you just make fun of other people, which is kind of funny because you mentioned before that I do these racist jokes, quote unquote, where I'm making fun of other races. That's actually a harder.
Yes, that's what I said. Yeah,
it's a harder pill to swallow. But if I'm making fun of Puerto Ricans, and everyone goes, "Oh, this is funny, this is great." So you have to be a brilliant comedic genius, the way that I am, in order to get away with doing something like that. Michael Bisping's taking the easiest route, is the point.
You are a fantastic comedic genius, Lewis. And in fact, you are actually very, very funny. And I did say this, Lewis. I do believe one day you will be a famous comedian. I do believe that. You're very funny.
I mean, I'm pretty well known right now. Pretty successful so far. Make six figures doing.
One day, Lewis. One day. One step at a time, pal.
Next question.
Martin from Krakow. We're having a joke, buddy. We're having a joke. And if we offended you, go fuck yourself. Next question.
One day, Lewis. One day you'll be able to be taken seriously.
Lewis, I don't care what everyone says about you. I think you're pretty funny.
All right, next.
Hey, Mike Bisping, I don't care what anyone says about you. I think you're okay.
No,
so, okay. Two things. What the fuck are people saying? And secondly, you think I'm okay?
You're in my top five.
Next question.
Next. All right. Hey, guys, my name is Jake King. I love the show from Harlem, Montana, different Harlem than I live in. My question is for the champ, Mike, would you ever consider headlining a fight night again? And if so, why not bring the UFC to Montana? I know you have some pull. Just see if we can bring it to the Blue Sky State. And what a shitty question, Harrington. What a terrible question.
Yeah, Harrington, listen, you've managed to go unscathed this episode. I'm glad that someone from Montana reminded us. But Harrington, come on, buddy. Montana, listen, buddy, if I have one more fight, it's going to be my last. And no disrespect to Montana. I hear it's beautiful. I hear the countryside is fantastic. I'm sure the people are great. And I'm sure the local cuisine is very good. But I don't want my last fight to be Montana. I'm just being honest. I've got no ties to Montana. I've never been to Montana. I want to go to Montana. I want to stop saying fucking Montana. I don't want to fight in Montana. But I appreciate the question. I appreciate the love for the show. If I fight one more time, I did show some interest in Liverpool, but don't think that's going to be happening. But, there may still be one more yet. But there you go. Yeah. One more question. One more question, then I got to go because Alfie, my German Shepherd, he's been away. He's been on a vacation, shall we say, for the last 8 days with Tom from Off Leash Live.
I saw the video.
You saw the video?
Yeah, really cool.
Getting back in about an hour, and hopefully it's going to be a new dog. Well, not hopefully. Alfie was awesome, but hopefully he won't eat the other dog, Harry, and he does as he's told. He sits and this and that and all this stuff. Check out the video, Tom from Off Leash Live. That's on my Instagram page, Mike Bisping. Give me a follow. Give Lewis a follow, and give Off Leash Live a follow. Lewis, next question.
Next question. Also, I will tell you right now, the top 3 things to do in Montana: the Beartooth Highway. You could visit a highway. You go to the Playmill Theater.
I love a good highway. I mean, I spent so much time in traffic. Yeah. Visit a highway. Number 2,
the Playmill Theater. You could go see some unknown off Broadway.
Definitely way off Broadway, yeah.
And then number 3 is the Grinnell Glacier. There's a glacier you can go look at.
That actually sounds pretty cool, though. I do like glaciers. I do like glaciers.
Do you really like glaciers?
Things like that. Yeah, no, I went to Switzerland when I was a kid. I went with the Cubs. Sorry, the Scouts. I went with the Scouts to the Boy Scouts to Switzerland when I was a kid, and we went inside some glaciers and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty. I didn't give a shit for it at the time when I was 10. But now as an adult, I would like to go back there and check it out and actually have a look. So, yeah, maybe I will go to Montana and check out the Glazer, whatever.
All right. Final question. This is Michael Mulhern from the UK. Big fan of the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake and, of course, the legendary Mikey B. Just wanted to ask Mike, what is the most important aspect of fighting? Chin, conditioning, skills, or mindset? And also for the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake, as a known killer, do you think you could beat any 135-pounder? All right, let me just answer that really quick. No. I don't. Why do people ask these questions? I actually would rather fight a heavyweight because a heavyweight would just knock me out. A 135-pounder would just beat me up and make me bleed. A 135-pounder would knock me out too. But I think it would be...
What about 125?
A chick? I think I could beat any 125-pound female fighter.
No, a 125-pound man. What about a 125-pound man? Because now, odds are starting to tip in your favor in terms of size.
No, because I don't actually know how to fight. So I know how to fight like a dude in the street, sort of. Like I know how to handle myself. But a fighter that knows how to fight, a little 125-pound dude.
What about a 10-year-old kid that's done MMA for 5 years?
I think I could beat up any 3 or 4 10-year-old kids that have been doing MMA. I don't care how long they've trained MMA.
If they'd done MMA for a long time, would you hold back, though, and think, well, he's only a kid, or would you think he's done MMA, so fuck this guy?
I don't take any chances. I'd knock his head off his shoulders before he could blink.
All right, go on. Give me the question.
So the question for you is, what's the most important aspect of fighting to you? And he gave a few things, but just I say in general, if you had somebody, let's say this is a good question. You see a 10-year-old kid, right? What is it that you would... If there was something in a 10-year-old kid that you saw in him that you'd be like, this kid could be a professional fighter. This is something in him that I'm like, fuck, that kid can maybe do it. So that's the question.
You know, to be honest, and I'm not taking this back to my children, it's very narcissistic, but there was something that I saw that Callum, my son, my eldest, he's a fantastic wrestler right now. He just came 8th in the state of California, which is huge. Out of 25,000 wrestlers, he came 8th. And I knew he had that competitiveness in him years ago. Mm-hmm. And this is, for me, the most important aspect of being a fighter. Okay, of, explosive power, that's amazing. Having a good chin, that's great. Speed, that's good. All these physical things that you can measure are great and very, very beneficial to have. But the one thing that you need over anything is heart. You gotta have the heart. You see so many guys that are so good, but then once they hit a bit of adversity, once things don't go their way, they crumble and they give up. I mean, Vito Belfort, he had a great career, but he's a prime example. There's lots of fighters like that. They crumble when it doesn't go their way. I remember years ago, Callum was about 7 or 8, maybe younger than that. We still lived in England, and we took the dogs out for a walk down this river, and this was actually on the run, a run that I do frequently. So whilst my wife and my daughter were walking the dogs, I said, well, listen, I'm going to do my run, and I'll come round in a circle and come up behind you. And Callum said, oh, can I do the run with you? I said, yeah, sure. Rolled my eyes a little bit. I'm like, for fuck's sake, now I've got to do the run really slowly, you know what I mean, as opposed to getting a workout. But it's nice, you run with your son, so there you go. So we're running nice and slow, but for him it's hard because obviously he's only, I think he was about 8 years old. And then at the end of the run, there's these steps, and on these steps, that's when I always really put it in as hard as I can, so at the top, you're ready to just fall over and collapse. And Callum was struggling on the run, and on the steps, he was going up the steps, and he was dying, and he wasn't training for anything. But he didn't want to give up. He didn't want to quit. He wanted to say that he finished without giving up. And I said to my wife right then and there after that run, I said, I tell you what, I said, you should have seen Callum on that run, babe. I said, he was dying. He was in so much pain physically. You could see it on his face, but he wouldn't stop. He had that work ethic, which I've always had that. And Callum obviously has that also. And that for me is one of the most important things, because the fact that you don't stop when the going gets tough, you don't stop. That crosses over into many things. That crosses over into your preparation for the fight. When you're hitting pads or whatever and you get tired, you stop and take a break. If you're sparring and you get caught with a good shot, you're going to stop and take a break. If you're in a fight and you hit adversity, you're going to fold and look for the referee to stop the fight or whatever. So that, for me, the fact you can go on, fight through adversity, in a fight, in training, for your conditioning, heart, I think is what they call it. You could sum that up as heart. You cannot teach that. You cannot teach that. You cannot measure it. On all these stats on fights, on UFC, on Fox, all this, they have measurements. They have the records, how many knockouts, they have the height, the reach, all this. It doesn't have heart on there. You cannot measure this. You either have it or you don't have it. And that is the most important aspect.
How great would that be if that was one of the stats, though? They were like,
Heart. 0. Oh, God. Come on, guys. At least give me 5.
all right, look, dude, let's wrap this one. This has been a great show. Thanks, Audie Attar, for calling in and shedding some light on that whole situation. So we're watching closely this weekend.
Predictions. We'll just do main and co-main. Main and co-main.
All right,
main event, what do you think?
Main event, Khabib all the way. I couldn't imagine any scenario. I mean, I guess Khabib could get his first loss to a guy that's way smaller than him, coming off of short notice with no training, and that seems very unlikely. But and then also I got to say, dude, I think Rose has Joanna's number. I think that there's something about Rose. She's been training with Pat Barry for the longest time, dude, with a guy who's in the UFC for the longest time. She's always sort of been, in my opinion, a little bit ahead of the pack. And I think now that she has the championship, I think she's really, really tough. And I think that, to be honest with you, I think she has more tools. Yeah, Joanna's a better striker. She's a better striker than everybody. But it's not just about that. You talked about how much heart it takes. I think we just see there's something about Rose and that, like, look in her eye where you're like, this bitch is crazy. I don't want to cross her. She's going to cut my throat in my sleep. Fuck that. So I say Rose all the way. Khabib all the way. I'd put money on it. If you want to take me up on that, Michael Bisping.
Yeah. To be honest, I agree. I got Khabib all the way. I think Max is, it's very admirable him stepping up, but I just think stylistically it's a bad matchup. Max isn't known for being a wrestler, perhaps. I'm sure he can stop a takedown. I'm sure he can perform a takedown. But Khabib, his wrestling is just totally at another level. And with him being small and without him having so much time to bring in wrestlers, top-level wrestlers, and get his takedown defense. And, of course, he had the injury. It's short notice. His cardio is going to suffer a little bit. He's stepping up a weight class. Khabib is 25-0. I'm 25-0 for a reason. No disrespect to Maxi Baby. I love Maxi Baby. And I'll be cheering for the best man to win. But I do have Khabib winning that fight. Co-main event, once again, totally agree. Anytime a woman is mad enough to shave her head off, you got to be careful with her. But listen, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I'm a big fan of Joanna. She's actually a great person. She's very cool. She's an amazing fighter. She was an incredible champion. And the way she fights, I'm a huge fan. She has perfect takedown defense. She puts together fluent combinations. That fight against Rose Namajunas, Rose has a very similar build to Joanna, but she's a little bit taller. And I think that really gave her problems. And Jędrzejczyk was fighting out of range, okay? In the past, the range she was at, maybe she would have connected with her opponents, but she'd throw combinations, she'd hit fresh air, and then Rose would counter, and she would connect. And she dropped her in the first round, then she dropped her again in the second round and finished her, knocked her out. I think Jędrzejczyk actually tapped her strikes. Since then, Jędrzejczyk went away. She made some excuses. She blamed it on a nutritionist and this and that. I don't like seeing that kind of thing. I think it's going to be a repetition of the first fight. I think it will go longer, but I do have Rose winning. Jędrzejczyk, I hope you prove me wrong. I'm a big, big fan. May the best lady win in that fight. And there you go. This has been another episode of Believe You Me, Audie Attar. Thank you very much. That is that. Luis J. Gomez, you're the man. Adios, amigos. See you next week.
That seems very unlikely. But and then also I got to say, dude, I think Rose has Joanna's number. I think that there's something about Rose. She's been training with Pat Barry for the longest time, dude, with a guy who's in the UFC for the longest time. She's always sort of been, in my opinion, a little bit ahead of the pack. And I think now that she has the championship, I think she's really, really tough. And I think that, to be honest with you, I think she has more tools. Yeah, Joanna's a better striker. She's a better striker than everybody. But it's not just about that. You talked about how much heart it takes. I think we just see there's something about Rose and that, like, look in her eye where you're like, this bitch is crazy. I don't want to cross her. She's going to cut my throat in my sleep. Fuck that. So I say Rose all the way. Khabib all the way. I'd put money on it. If you want to take me up on that, Michael Bisping.
Yeah. To be honest, I agree. I got Khabib all the way. I think Max is, it's very admirable him stepping up, but I just think stylistically it's a bad matchup. Max isn't known for being a wrestler, perhaps. I'm sure he can stop a takedown. I'm sure he can perform a takedown. But Khabib, his wrestling is just totally at another level. And with him being small and without him having so much time to bring in wrestlers, top-level wrestlers, and get his takedown defense. And, of course, he had the injury. It's short notice. His cardio is going to suffer a little bit. He's stepping up a weight class. Khabib is 25-0. I'm 25-0 for a reason. No disrespect to Maxi Baby. I love Maxi Baby. And I'll be cheering for the best man to win. But I do have Khabib winning that fight. Co-main event, Again, once again, totally agree. Anytime a woman is mad enough to shave her head off, you got to be careful with her. But listen, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I'm a big fan of Joanna. She's actually a great person. She's very cool. She's an amazing fighter. She was an incredible champion. And the way she fights, I'm a huge fan. She has perfect takedown defense. She puts together fluent combinations. That fight against Rose Namajunas, Rose has a very similar build to Joanna, but she's a little bit taller. And I think that really gave her problems. And Jędrzejczyk was fighting out of range, okay? In the past, the range she was at, maybe she would have connected with her opponents, but she'd throw combinations, she'd hit fresh air, and then Rose would counter, and she would connect. Now, she dropped her in the first round, then she dropped her again in the second round and finished her, knocked her out. I think Jędrzejczyk actually tapped her strikes. Since then, Jędrzejczyk went away. You know, she made some excuses. She blamed it on a nutritionist and this and that. I don't like seeing that kind of thing. I think it's going to be a repetition of the first fight. I think it will go longer, but I do have Rose winning. Jędrzejczyk, I hope you prove me wrong. I'm a big fan. May the best lady win in that fight. And there you go. This has been another episode of Believe You Me. Audie Attar, thank you very much. That is that. Luis J. Gomez, you're the man. Adios, amigos. See you next week. Actually tapped his strikes. Since then, Jędrzejczyk went away. You know, she made some excuses. She blamed it on a nutritionist and this and that. I don't like seeing that kind of thing. I think it's going to be a repetition of the first fight. I think it will go longer, but I do have Rose winning. Jędrzejczyk, I hope you prove me wrong. I'm a big fan. May the best lady win in that fight. And there you go. This has been another episode of Believe You Me. Audie Attar, thank you very much. That is that. Luis J. Gomez, you're the man. Adios, amigos. See you next week. Me, Audie Attar, thank you very much. That is that. Luis J. Gomez, you're the man. Adios, amigos. See you next week. See you next week.